running for re-election. I want you to know that my opponent on the Democratic side is the only person to get money from Hillary Clinton's PAC. That says a lot about him, and if you can help me with $5 or $10, I'd appreciate it. Apparently there's a super PAC being formed by liberals in South Carolina throughout the nation to come after me in the fall. If you could help me in any way, $5 or $10 goes a long way. We're in it to win it. Thank you.
I'm Jean-Nicolas, the UNHCR representative in Yemen, and I would like to provide you an update on the situation on the ground. As you probably know, Yemen has been labeled one of the worst humanitarian crises of our time. A staggering number of 80% of the population indeed relies on our humanitarian aid.
Today for our daily cancellation, we're all canceled. Everyone's canceled. We're all canceled. Enough is enough. The reason we're canceled is because a NASA spacecraft just yesterday landed on an asteroid 200 million miles away. It landed, touchdown, collected samples to bring back to Earth. The spacecraft left our planet 4 years ago, has traversed that great distance, actually has been orbiting the asteroid for the last 2 years, and now will return home with the mission completed. Now understand that this rock, about the size of the Empire State Building, is traveling 60,000 miles an hour. Just think about that. NASA sent a spaceship 200 million miles away. That's over 4 times the average, or rather the minimum distance between Earth and Mars. They sent it 200 million miles to an object only the size of a building, landed it in an area the size of 3 parking spaces, touching down only 3 feet from the precise targeted location. That is an utterly amazing engineering feat. It's mind-boggling. It's spectacular. There's even a short video footage of the event. Why does all this mean that we're canceled? Well, because instead of talking about that tremendous and fascinating subject, we've all been talking about Jeffrey Toobin's penis and Borat and God knows what else. This is how it always goes. We live in a universe of wonders. We're surrounded by the astonishing, the bewildering, the incredible, and none of that can hold our attention or attract our interest the way a story about a man publicly masturbating can, or the way that any gossipy nonsense can, or any pointless controversy. We all complain about this, though. I hear from people all the time, oh, I wish the news would focus on positive, interesting things more. People complain to me about it, about my show. Matt, I agree with you, but I wish you'd talk about positive things. No, you don't. No, you don't. You say you do, but you don't. We all say we do, but none of us really do. The fact is, the positive, the interesting, the non-controversial, these stories are out there. That content is out there. It just doesn't attract much attention. Unless it's a story about, like, a dog helping a blind man find his favorite hat, and there's a cute 2.5-minute video we can share on Facebook. That story, is positive, and the video would get 15 billion views. But positive and significant, positive and consequential, positive and truly interesting, those are the stories that almost nobody really cares about, except in theory. And if I were to spend a week talking only about those kinds of positive stories, by the end of that week, I'd have maybe 5 listeners left. My audience would literally be cut in half. So we're all complicit. We prefer the inane, the empty, over the wondrous and the enthralling. Another example, last year, there was a picture of a black hole released. First time ever that a black hole has been photographed. You can see it here. Now, that is an object 55 million light years away. 55 million light years. A light year is 6 trillion miles. 55 million times 6 trillion. You do the math. I certainly can't. And this thing is 6 billion times the mass of the sun. The word gargantuan doesn't begin to describe it. A force of power beyond anything we can imagine. Anything we've seen across distances too vast and too empty to be comprehended. This picture was released, and you know what most people said? It's blurry. It's blurry. It's boring. I'm bored. Let's see what Kanye West is tweeting about. But I suppose that's better. That reaction is preferable to when 5 or 6 years ago, a module was landed on a comet 300 million miles away. And the discussion around that event, if you remember, centered around the allegedly sexist shirt of the scientist who headed up the project. At least nobody found a reason to be offended by the asteroid landing yesterday or the black hole. But I'm sure our best minds are figuring out a way to make that happen. Now, I really believe, I really do, that aliens could land on this earth, emerge from their spaceships, and start revealing the secrets of the universe, and it wouldn't even trend on Twitter or make headlines on CNN unless the aliens said something homophobic or racist, or if they mentioned that they support Donald Trump. Then in that case, sure, global news. CNN's headline would say something like, aliens invade Earth, stir controversy with offensive comments. Then there'd be the BuzzFeed article, replete with GIFs and snarky one-liners, with a title like, 10 most problematic things the aliens said when they came to Earth. The aliens would look around, shake their heads, and say, holy shit, you people are stupid, and then leave. They were going to tell us how to cure all known diseases, harness energy directly from the core of the sun, but never mind. And after they leave, within 12 hours, the news cycle will have moved on. 3 months later, somebody will post a massively viral tweet that says, LOL, remember the time aliens came? And there'd be like a GIF from Spaceballs or Mars Attacks. And that will be the only record of the event. Humanity's last word on the subject. So we're all canceled. We're canceled for being us, for being human. It's our greatest flaw. And on that appropriately dour note and depressing note, I will end the show for today. The last show from my home here, which is also canceled, this studio. In fact, my first studio, which would, of course, be my car, was hauled away to the junkyard just this morning. And now this. So this is a time of change, of endings, and new beginnings. So that's going to do it for me. Have a great day. Farewell. Godspeed. Hey, you. You right there. Hit the subscribe button right now. Do it right now. I thank you for your compliance. It's somewhat appreciated.
my work is full of texture. I really like to feel the fibers. When I started weaving, for me it was more like an outlet, less planned. I don't have a sketch. I just start. I like to try new things and experiment using different materials. Wool, cotton, silk. I like the change in texture. That's always exciting to me.
Made at home. Made by you. Michaels. Take 20% off select yarn at michaels.com.
They think they need help.
Pretty sure we've never seen this. You all right?
I'm fine.
What's going on with you?
I want to know that there's meaning in the things I do.
You can't deal with reality.
Yeah, because you was fucked up.
Hunter Biden's business partner says Joe was in on Hunter's business activities the whole time. The FBI announces Iranian interference in the election, and Rudy Giuliani finds himself targeted by Borat. I'm Ben Shapiro. This is The Ben Shapiro Show. Today's show is sponsored by ExpressVPN. Don't let others track what you do. Keep yourself safe at expressvpn.com/Ben. We'll get to all the news in just one moment, and tonight is debate night, so there's an awful lot of news. But first, let's talk about how you can save some money quickly and easily. I'm talking about that cell phone bill. So you look at that cell phone bill, you are spending a lot of money. You should be spending about half of what you're spending, but the fact is that you're not spending the proper amount because you are buying unlimited data. Well, are you using unlimited data? The answer, of course, is no. The reason that these cell phone companies charge you up the wazoo is they assume you're going to use extraordinary levels of data you never use. You're basically buying out an entire airplane when you're using a couple of seats. Well, instead of doing that, why don't you just get the same exact coverage as you would get with Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile, but instead of paying a fortune, instead pay a lot less. Go to Pure Talk USA right now. Look at your cell phone bill where it shows data usage. The average person who switches to Pure Talk is using less than 4 gigs of data a month. The big carriers are charging you unlimited data. That's how Pure Talk saves the average person over $400 a year on their wireless service. Unlimited talk, text, 2 gigs of data, all for just $20 a month. If you go over on data usage, they don't charge you for it. Switching to Pure Talk, it's the easiest decision you will make today. So grab your mobile phone, dial pound 250, say Ben Shapiro. When you do, you'll save 50% off your first month. Dial pound 250, say keyword Ben Shapiro. Pure Talk, simply smarter wireless. Dial pound 250, say Ben Shapiro to get started and save a bunch on your cell phone bill. Okay, so late last night, news broke via the New York Post that Hunter Biden's business partner, his old business partner, has confirmed that the email exchanges that we have seen via the New York Post are not only real, but that Joe Biden was in on Hunter Biden's business activities. Now, remember, the original story here is that Hunter Biden, we knew this. I mean, this was absolutely clear. Hunter Biden was jet-setting around the world picking up bags of cash, and he admitted openly on national television just last year that if his last name were not Biden, he would not have been able to do that. Joe claimed that he was ignorant of all of these sorts of activities. Sure, Hunter was grabbing a ride with him on Air Force Two over to China while he was vice president of the United States. But, that was just all in good fun. The fact is that he was completely separated off from what Hunter was doing, and there was no indication that Hunter was corrupt anyway. And that was the story. Well, then the New York Post broke email suggesting that a meeting had actually been brokered between a Ukrainian oligarch working for Burisma and Joe Biden by Hunter Biden, and then another email exchange, or a couple more email exchanges, tended to suggest that maybe, just maybe, Joe Biden was receiving some of the proceeds of Hunter Biden's nefarious business activities. So we went from Hunter is doing bad stuff and Joe doesn't know about it to Hunter is doing bad stuff and Joe does know about it to Hunter is doing bad stuff and Joe is in on it. Right? That is the evolution of the story over the last couple of weeks. Well, last night, the other shoe dropped, and it turns out that one of Hunter Biden's business partners is now confirming that Joe Biden was in on a lot of Hunter Biden's business activities and actually making money off of them. According to the New York Post, Michael Goodwin reporting, we learned that Biden has been secretly playing footsie with China. A statement on Wednesday night asserting that the former vice president was a willing and eager participant in a family scheme to make millions of dollars by partnering with a shady Chinese communist firm is a singular event in a presidential race already overflowing with drama and intrigue. The dynamite assertion, believable because it aligns with earlier information we know to be true, came in a statement by Tony Bobulinski, who describes himself as a former partner of Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and Joe's brother Jim in the China scheme. Bobulinski unloads his bill of accusations in blunt but precise language and detail. He actually released a rather long statement to the New York Post. Here's what it says. My name is Tony Bobulinski. The facts set forth below are true and accurate. They are not any form of domestic or foreign disinformation. Any suggestion to the contrary is false and offensive. I am the recipient of the email published 7 days ago by the New York Post, which showed a copy to Hunter Biden and Rob Walker. That email is genuine. This afternoon, I received a request from the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs and the Senate Committee on Finance requesting all documents relating to my business affairs with the Biden family, as well as various foreign entities and individuals. I have extensive relevant records and communications, and I intend to produce those items to both committees in the immediate future. I am the grandson of a 37-year Army intelligence officer, the son of a 20-plus-year career naval officer, and the brother of a 28-year career naval flight officer. I myself served our country for 4 years and left the Navy as Lieutenant Bobulinski. I held a high-level security clearance and was an instructor and then CTO for Naval Nuclear Power Training Command. I take great pride in the time my family and I served this country. I am also not a political person. What few campaign contributions I have made in my life were to Democrats. If the media and big tech companies had done their jobs over the past several weeks, I would be irrelevant in this story. Given my long-standing service and devotion to this great country, I could no longer allow my family's name to be associated or tied to Russian disinformation or implied lies and false narratives dominating the media right now. After leaving the military, says Bobulinski, I became an institutional investor, investing extensively around the world and on every continent. I've traveled to over 50 countries. I believe, hands down, we live in the greatest country in the world. What I'm outlining is fact. I know it is fact because I lived it. I am CEO of Sinahawk Holdings, which was a partnership between the Chinese operating through CEFC Chairman Yi and the Biden family. I was brought into the company to be the CEO by James Gilliar and Hunter Biden. The reference to the big guy in the much-publicized May 13, 2017 email is, in fact, a reference to Joe Biden. The other JB referenced in that email is Jim Biden, Joe's brother. Okay, so the email that he is talking about is this May 13, 2017 email that suggested that 20% of the company was to be held for Hunter Biden and 10 was to go to, quote-unquote, the big guy. This is the email that implicates Joe Biden in possible actual corrupt activity. Hunter Biden called his dad the big guy or my chairman, according to Tony Bobulinski, and frequently referenced asking him for his sign-off or advice on various potential deals that we were discussing. I've seen Vice President Biden saying he never talked to Hunter about his business. I've seen firsthand that's not true, because it wasn't just Hunter's business. They said they were putting the Biden family name and its legacy on the line. I realized the Chinese were not really focused on a healthy financial ROI, return on investment. They were looking at this as a political or influence investment. Once I realized that Hunter wanted to use the company as his personal piggy bank by just taking money out of it as soon as it came from the Chinese, I took steps to prevent that from happening. The Johnson report, this would be the Ron Johnson report from the Senate Intelligence Committee, or Homeland Security Committee, connected some dots in a way that shocked me. It made me realize the Bidens had gone behind my back and gotten paid millions of dollars by the Chinese, even though they told me they hadn't and wouldn't do that to their partners. I would ask the Biden family to address the American people and outline the facts so I can go back to being irrelevant, and so I'm not put in a position to have to answer these questions for them. I don't have a political axe to grind. I just saw behind the Biden curtain, and I grew concerned with what I saw. The Biden family aggressively leveraged the Biden family name to make millions of dollars from foreign entities, even though some were from the communist-controlled Chinese. God bless America. That is the statement of Tony Bobulinski. Okay, so if that is true, then that is a massive, massive bombshell, obviously, because now you are looking at a person who should have been in a position to know, saying that Joe Biden was in on all of Hunter Biden's business activities, apparently while he was serving in the government. Right? While Joe Biden was serving in the government, apparently, he was working with Hunter Biden to clear checks, is the accusation here by Tony Bobulinski. Now, the accusation is credible if Tony Bobulinski was in the position that he's talking about, which apparently he was. If he was, then I don't see why the media can avoid asking questions about this any longer. After all, we are told that an allegation can be judged credible on its face and then requires questioning. You remember when Christine Blasey Ford came forward with an accusation that Brett Kavanaugh had raped her back during his teenage years, some 30 to 40 years ago. And this was treated as a credible accusation until the point when it fell apart. Well, if somebody makes an accusation like this on the record by name, and they say that they were in the know, and that Hunter Biden was negotiating on behalf